What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Brandon. This is Extreme Daily Drivers, and thanks so much for stopping by the garage. I put a video out last week saying that I was going to start wrenching on our cars, get some stuff done. You guys probably thought I was lying, but here we are a week later and I got another video. Now, unfortunately, today's video is not something that I was actually planning for. No, it's not. We actually have to fix something in today's video because the other day, Kelly and I were driving to the gym. Halfway there, the battery light comes on the old Jeep. I go ahead and hit my little voltmeter. I'll show you where that is in a second. And it shows me that the battery's running about like 12 volts. Not good. So turned around, came home. I grabbed my voltometer, did some quick testing. Turns out the alternator is dying. So that's what we're swapping out in today's video. I did kind of what every normal person would do when they realize that they need to get a new alternator. I went online to the local auto parts stores, Advanced, O'Reilly's, did a quick little search, see what they had available, see how much it was. And for both places offered remanufactured alternators for around $200, and both had horrible reviews. So what do I do next? I go on Amazon and put in the year, make, and model of the vehicle, search, found an alternator for $90 shipped. It came in the next day, and it had great reviews. So that's what we're installing today. Here it is. Check it out. Super shiny and new. This has to go right here. So let me grab some tools and let's start taking things apart. All right, so like I said, alternator is right here. Super easy to get to, which is awesome. First, we're gonna have to disconnect the battery. Then we're gonna have to actually mess with something I've actually never messed with in a car. And that is a automatic pulley, like automatic tensioner. You see that thing down there? Yeah, we're gonna have to mess with that in order to get the belt off so that we can actually start removing this thing. All right, now to take the tension off of the belt, and we do that 15mm wrench down in here. Never done this before. Okay, it's on there. Get my hand out. And now if I tighten it, okay, look at that. We can take the belt off. The more you torque on this thing, the looser the belt gets, and it's almost off the pulley. All right, we got it. Gently take the tension off the pulley, holding onto this belt. I don't want it to fall. So that was really hard to film, but you can see the belt is off the alternator, and I don't want that belt to fall because it is looped around all sorts of stuff, and you can see it still came off that crank pull, or the fan. That's the water pump, actually. It came off the water pump pulley a little bit, so we'll have to make sure it's completely around that. But it's around a number of accessories, air conditioning, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want the belt to fall down into the abyss and then have to fish it out and then wrap it around all of the accessories, right? So I zip tied it right here to the clamp of the upper radiator hose. So that worked out well, so we don't have to worry about that falling down. And to give you a better idea of what I was doing, down there you can see the 15mm socket on top of that tensioner, and it's still on there. It's just resting now against the air filter. So we're in good shape. Now we can start removing some bolts, and I think there are 3 in total, and I think it's 15mm. Let me grab my wrench and start taking some stuff off. So the first thing I'm going to remove is the power connector that goes to the battery. It's right here on top of the alternator. It usually has a cover on it. I have a red one on top of mine that I actually put on there because the old one broke. So let's give this a crack, loosen up the nut, take this off, and we will be golden. All right, there we go. Simple as that. Now here are the bolts. There's one right here. This is a long one that goes through a bracket like typical alternators have. And then we have two more. There's one right here. And then there's one right down here. I'm gonna crack them all loose first, and then we will start removing them. This should be really easy. So if you guys are wondering whether or not this is the original alternator, I don't know the answer to that. I'm the 4th owner of this Jeep. It is a Denso alternator. it could definitely be the original. I don't know. If you guys remember in my XB, the alternator went on that. And that was the original alternator in that one. And that went at like 240,000 miles. So this truck now has 200,000. So, you know, say what you want about American Jeep quality. If this thing lasted 200,000 miles in 20 years, that's pretty darn good. So, it's not surprising that the alternator went either. I've been kind of in the back of my mind thinking to myself, like, I wonder how long that's gonna last, because this is something that doesn't last forever. These things, they wear down over time and they wind up breaking. And I'm just so glad it happened so close to home. Am I going the right way there? I'm just so glad it happened so close to home. We were actually thinking about taking this to South Carolina last weekend, and we took Kelly's car instead. And I'm glad we did, because otherwise I might be replacing this on the side of the road somewhere in Georgia. So, yeah, you know, this Jeep I've had for almost 4 years, if you can believe that. I've almost had it 4 years. 4 years in August. It has, like, broken down, or whatever you want to call it, 3 times. Once was the starter. The starter just broke. I got in the Jeep one day to try to start it and didn't start. It happened right here in the driveway. The other thing that went... what the heck was it? Oh, I did a video on it. It was the ignition switch. The Jeep wouldn't start. It wouldn't work. I did a video on it. $20 fix. Fix it here in the driveway. And now this went, which was awesome. Just a couple miles from the house, and was able to get home no issues. So super fortunate that this 20-year-old vehicle hasn't stranded me anywhere. And you know, the things that have broken on it have been, you know, kind of what happens to older cars. I mean, starters don't last forever. Ignition switches don't last forever. And alternators don't last forever. So, yeah, so pretty good luck with the Jeep. All right, these are now finger tight. That one, this one was hard to get to. Well, it wasn't hard to get to. It didn't want to come off. For some reason, that was killer tight. And then we got this guy here, who's loose too. So let me pull the bolts off. We'll kind of wrestle this thing out of here. And then there's another clip on the back we'll have to undo. So the bolts are out. Now we have to remove this clip. All right. And now this thing should be free. Feels like it is. I can't see back there, but now we have to kind of work it up and down and pull it off. I'm just working it back and forth until it comes free. Success. So now is when you want to inspect both your new and old alternator to make sure that they are exactly the same. If they are a little bit off, you will not be able to put the new one in. So you want to verify bolt hole sizes, okay? Make sure that they match. You want to verify basically every single angle of these. Let's get it so that they match. All right, looks right to me. You can count how many ribs are on the pulley. Make sure they match. I think it's 6 on each. Really turn it around. Get to know your alternator. Make sure that the prongs are the same, right? So then we'll reinstall that clip. It goes right on. I want to make sure that the power post is in the same location as this one. Looks like it is. This may seem silly to do this, but believe me, there's nothing worse than getting an aftermarket part and going to install it and having it not fit after you wrestle and wrestle and wrestle and realize it's slightly different. So from up top, these things look very similar. This new one seems to be good quality, has a really good mass to it. A lot of times you can tell, you know, how good something is when it comes to something like this by how much it weighs. I know this sounds kind of stupid, but it's true. Yeah, everything looks good. We got our nut here, matches this. And so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that long bolt through here and make sure that it screws in. Okay, here's the one that came off the car. Fits through. Now let's make sure it screws in. And it seems to be doing it. Yep, that's screwing in. So this new one looks pretty darn good. Link down in the description. So the new one's gonna go in just like the old one came out. Let's see how hard it is to get it in here. Oh. I went right in. I went right in its little home. I thought that was gonna be hard. It was easy. All right, let's not get crazy. Let's get some bolts in here. Let's do this one first. Finger tight. All right, that's in there. It's not gonna fall, right? Okay, now let's put the big bolt in on the left-hand side. This guy. Move this up and down still. Oh, right in. All right. Get this guy going. All right, now last one. This little guy goes in on the top. And since everything's still loose, there's still movement here. I can move this stuff around just so that the bolt holes line up nicely. Yeah, it's on there. And let's go ahead and plug this in. We'll put this guy in last. All right, man, we got it on there. Dude, look how good it looks, huh? Look how nice and new it looks in there. So, solid as a rock. Now, don't go crazy tightening these bolts. Just a little bit of is all you need. The last thing you want to do is break one of these bolts. Oh my God, and you could easily do it. So, do not over tighten these, just a little bit. If these bolts were to get loose, dude, you would know it. You'd have all sorts of vibrations and you could just come out here real quick and check it. So that's not going anywhere. So now is kind of the part I'm dreading a little bit. It's getting the belt back on here. So again, tension on this. And I'm gonna have to cut the zip tie, hold on to this belt and loop it over here and keep it around all the other accessories. So it's probably gonna take some wrestling. Come on. Come on. Come on, belt. Oh, almost there. Oh, we just got it, I think. All right, take tension off. All right, my wrench is free. How'd we do? How'd we do? All right. We are around the water pump. We are around the air conditioner. We are around the alternator. We are around power steering pump, I guess. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what that one is. Crank, we are around. And pulley, we are around. Yeah, man. You want to make sure that the belt is in the grooves too, right? Make sure it's in the grooves. You see on here, it's on all the grooves. So now, we can install this guy with our nice shiny new nut there. Tight. And now we can put the battery back on. Sweet. Yo, look at us, man. We're a bunch of mechanics. Look at that puppy. Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Let me show you the voltometer I was telling you about. I went over this a long time ago when I did a video on interior mods. Make sure I don't hit my house. But here it is. I pulled out, well, I had a little power outlet that was over here and I pulled it out and installed a voltometer. And when the battery light came on, I turned this on. And like I said, it was in the 12s. And then it would go to 13 and then 12 and 13 and 12. It was really low. It should be in the 14s when you start your car up. So the battery's a little drained, so that's why it's a little low right now. It should be really around 14.7. But yeah, voltometer comes in super handy. You can also charge stuff off of here. I never do that, but you can. Yeah, man, we're awesome. Let me check out. I know I should really go drive around the block, but dude, look how bright the headlights are, huh? Headlights and fogs, sick. That wraps it up, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you did this along with me, props to you. Look at you, you're a freaking mechanic. Super easy to do in this car, honestly. This is a 30-minute job. if I wasn't filming. And it's the same, I should mention, for the V6. If you have the Hemi, it's a little bit different, but you should be able to figure it out with all the good tips in this video. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Later.